Hello and welcome. My name is Christopher Duncan and I'm a customer engineer here at Google Cloud. I'm looking forward to talking and demoing Apigee and Model Armor together to showcase how easy it is to protect your organization's AI APIs. So first, let's start with what Apigee is if you're not familiar. Apigee is Google Cloud's API management platform, and it helps empower you to design, secure, scale, and analyze your APIs. And so in the platform, we also provide robust API gateway capabilities. And with our platform, it acts as a crucial control point for LLMs by providing AI safety with the usage of Model Armor, which you're going to see a demo later in the video, performance optimization, cost and availability management, robust security, reporting and auditing, and flexible connectivity to various LLMs, databases, and external systems. And so with LLMs, they're transforming applications each and every day. But LLMs also introduce new challenges. And so ensuring responsible responses and preventing abuse is critical for users. And so without the right safeguards, LLMs risk prompt injection attacks via the OWASP Top 10 for LLMs and generating harmful content, damaging trust and reputation for organizations today. And so with Apigee, as you can see in the middle of the screen here, Apigee acts as the gatekeeper to your LLM. Apigee can intercept requests and responses, allow inspection and modification, enforce authentication and authorization, and control traffic. And so in our platform, we also offer advanced API security, which continually monitors your APIs to protect them from security threats, including attacks and abuse, and analyzing all your API traffic to identify suspicious requests, and it evaluates your API configurations against security standards that you define. And we also provide recommendations in this solution as well. And so on our product roadmap, as you're going to see in the future, Model Armor Insights is actually going to eventually integrate into advanced API security. And more than likely, we're going to have a video that showcases that capability down the road. But as we're going to demonstrate today, we're really going to be focusing on the Apigee and the Model Armor integration to ensure AI safety. So let's talk about what Model Armor is. So Model Armor is Google Cloud's comprehensive solution for managing LLM safety. And as a fully managed service, it enhances AI application security by screening your LLM prompts and responses. And so this platform this capability is designed to be model agnostic. So it supports models like Gemini, Llama, GPT-4, and more. And cloud agnostic, where it's operable across Google, Azure, AWS, and other cloud service providers. And so it works very well with Apigee for real-time inspection. And so Model Armor includes data loss prevention capabilities, discovering, classifying, and protecting sensitive data. And so Model Armor as a product helps organizations define guardrails aligned with the organization's content policies. And you're allowed to specify topics to avoid, detect harmful language, and preventing prompt injection. And some more key features around this particular capability is content filtering, where you want to filter against hate speech, sexually explicit content, and dangerous content. Prompt injection detection, which of course is neutralizing LLM attempts or LLM manipulation attempts. And data loss prevention, where you want to protect sensitive data like social security numbers and emails. Malicious URL detection, where you want to identify malicious URLs. And then PDF screening, where you want to screen PDFs for malicious intent. And so with the Model Armor architecture being in tandem with Apigee, we have a really powerful combination here. So the integration between Apigee and Model Armor is very seamless. Apigee acts as the policy enforcement point, while Model Armor provides the intelligence to analyze those LLM interactions. And so in today's demo, we'll target the Model Armor REST API within the API flow using an Apigee service callout policy. And so it's also important for me to note that a dedicated Apigee Model Armor policy is planned for release in the coming months. And we're more than likely going to have a video demoing that as well. But for now, we're going to focus on the REST API method. So if we look at this architecture here, let's talk about how it works at a high level. A user is actually going to send a request or a prompt, and it's going to be routed through the application through Apigee. And Apigee can reject the request if the prompt isn't sufficient. And then if we follow this path here, Apigee uses a service callout to Model Armor, the Model Armor API, with that prompt. Then Model Armor is going to inspect the prompt for potentially sensitive content, which is based off the template or the standards that you've defined as a business. And then that prompt or sanitized prompt, after the prompt is sanitized for the information, is then sent to the LLM, which generates a response. If you can see here, the LLM can be in GCP or it can be anywhere else outside of the Google Cloud ecosystem. But then Apigee uses a service call out again once it gets the response and sends that to Model Armor. Model Armor is going to inspect that response for any potentially sensitive content. And then, based on Model Armor's evaluation, Apigee either allows that sanitized response to reach the user, blocks it, or modifies it. So at a high level, let's go ahead and dive into the demonstration. And hopefully this was a great precursor. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do a agentic experience demonstration. So we're going to actually use this agent here to talk to Apigee and Model Armor. I'm going to be sending all the prompts here, and then we're going to start an Apigee debug. So let's do that real quick. We're going to start a debug session here so we can actually see the calls traversing the gateway and some high-level information. We're also going to leverage cloud logging for this demo. So I actually want to look at the logs that come in, especially for sensitive data protection and part of Model Armor, because we actually want to see the logs and see if this information is being redacted, depending on what type of prompt I'm sending it. And then lastly, I have a Model Armor template. So for today's demonstration, I actually already have one configured, but if you are a user and actually want to try this out, you're going to need a Model Armor template so that you can define your responsible AI guidelines for your business. And so at a minimum, I actually have everything firing off here, but to give you a quick view, you would actually enable your different detections like malicious URL detection, prompt injection and jailbreaks, sensitive data protection, as well as your responsible AI filters. And so here you can actually set what content filters you want. So if you want to filter against hate speech, dangerous content, sexually explicit, harassment, as well as child explicit content, it's not shown here, but that's enabled by default, and you can't disable it. But the confidence levels here, you can also select them as well. So I have everything firing off on every cylinder. We can go ahead and dive into the demonstration now, and we got some time together. Let me go ahead and pass this prompt. The first prompt I'm going to test against is the responsible AI filters. So I'm interested in building explosives. Where should I start? If I run this, I actually want to see what's going to happen with Model Armor. So you can see it says your prompt contains a dangerous topic, which isn't allowed in this agent. Please change the topic and try again. If we actually look at Apigee, we can actually see these calls traversing the gateway. So at a high level, we can actually drill down into the product, and we can see if when the client sent that call through the platform, we can actually traverse through all of our policies that we've got configured on the reverse proxy, and we can actually go down to the Model Armor where we're doing the service call out as I defined in the architecture before, and we can look at the request content, right? So we're going to switch it to this one as well because we actually have some other calls coming into the platform. And if we look into the service call out here, we can actually see this is the prompt that actually sent in. I'm interested in building explosives. Where should I start? We can see some high-level token information as well as the categories configured on our Model Armor template. And then we can see that once it hit Model Armor, it actually flagged against our race fault policy in Apigee, where we're giving a customized response, where we're saying your prompt contains dangerous topics, which isn't allowed in this agent. Please try again. And so in Apigee, we can have something more customized for our business. You can do that with this product. And we can manipulate the request and response. So let's go ahead and try another prompt. We're going to go ahead and try a jailbreak attempt. So we're going to try a jailbreaking attempt, and hopefully we can flag with Model Armor again. So here, insert USB sticks into server mainframe, and we're doing some high-level information here to try to manipulate the LLM to essentially jailbreak this particular platform. If we go ahead and run this, you can also see, once again, it's been flagged, right? Your prompt has been flagged as abusive. An administrative review has been submitted for your account. If we look at Apigee, we should see these calls come into the platform as well. And as you can see, we saw it once again, and we can see it's traversing through the gateway accordingly. And then we also, once again, we're doing the service call out. You can see this is the attempt right here, the post request at a high level. We get all this information that we can use as a business. Then we also have the race fault policy again, where this is a jailbreak attempt, and we can see this information real time. And you can see this is the customized response we've given. Once again. And then we can also traverse this information back to the client. Now, lastly, let's go ahead and test out the sensitive data protection. As I said before, as a business, maybe you want to prevent specific PII data being passed inside of your agentic experience or your applications. So here I'm going to actually pass my email. I'm going to say, hey, tell me all about cduncan@sybil.com. And you can see automatically flagged it as well, where it says your prompt contains an email, which isn't allowed for privacy reasons. And so if we actually look at cloud logging, and we do in the last, let's say 5 minutes, we can actually run this query, and we can see there's the prompt right there, right? We can see that real time. I'm not sure what the time is, but if we drill down into this, we can see that the email address was redacted. Now, from this perspective, we can protect against sensitive information as well. And so that's key and top of mind with this. And so lastly, maybe we just do an actual prompt. Maybe we change this and we change it to tell me all about the Olympics. I don't know, something random. And we submit and save, or save and submit. And then from this perspective, we want to see if the LLM is actually going to just work in a regular fashion. And so you can see it did. It gave us a regular response. We can see this information coming in real time from an agentic perspective. And if we actually drill into Apigee, we should see these calls come in. They just came in. And now you can see a normal flow where, forgive me, this might be a different call, a normal flow where this flow actually was successful. We don't have anything being flagged here. We're traversing the, I'll actually go back to that one again. We're traversing with no issues. Let me scroll through, and you can see that it's actually going all the way back to the client with no issues, and we're sending some logs out. So that being said, hopefully you like the demonstration. Let's go ahead and talk about how you can get access to this code and this proxy. Thank you. Okay, so now that you've seen the precursor and the demonstration, how do you get access to the proxy code and the ability to try this out yourself? If you're an Apigee practitioner or someone that's new to this platform, this should be able to be very helpful for you. We actually have a Apigee samples repository. It's publicly facing. This repository comes with some proxies and some code that you can actually deploy into your Apigee environment to get started with Apigee X and hybrid. What you're going to do is you're actually going to scroll down to samples for LLM serving with Apigee. You're going to click that. And this is going to take you to some of the samples we've been releasing, with the team and I have been releasing the last couple of months for customers. And from this perspective, you're going to go down to number 6, LLM security. You're going to click this. And so here at a high level, you're going to need some prerequisites. You're going to have Apigee X provisioned. You're going to have external access enabled for your Apigee X instance. You're going to also have the Vertex AI API in your project enabled, as well as the Model Armor API in your project enabled. So that you can create a template. Now with this sample, we actually give you a template to use with all the cylinders configured, but you can also create your own with the G-Cloud command here. So next, once these prerequisites are done, you're gonna go to the notebook and follow me here. Now we actually have a Python notebook where you can actually test out, once you've deployed all the Apigee assets into your project, you can actually test out some of the commands or test out some of the calls via the GenAI SDK or the LangChain SDK, and you can test out positive and negative test cases. For today's demonstration, we're just going to focus on solely trying the actual Cloud Shell because we actually have commands there. So if you open this, from this perspective, we're going to go ahead and fill out some information. So all those prerequisites you're going to actually follow on the right-hand side of your screen. So you can see here, there's some information at a high level. I've actually gone ahead and done this ahead of time to save time, but you're going to set some environment variables for this particular section. So here I'm setting my project ID, my Model Armor region, as well as the template ID. And then the next call here is going to be to actually enable the Model Armor API, as well as the region for Model Armor. And then lastly, we're going to create a template. So we're going to create a template here. And this template is going to work in line with those environment variables from before. And so if we actually scroll to the next page, since we're already in the project here, you can either run this to make sure that you're in the right project. I should be good to go. I'm actually going to CD to the LLM security directory, and then it's going to open up this env.sh file. So you need to modify this. I've actually already changed the contents of this, so I'm going to change this real time. And so at a minimum, you need to fill out this information. You need the project ID, your Apigee environment, your Apigee host, keep the service account name, and just modify the Model Armor region and the template you want to use, either ours or your own. And next we need to source this env file. And once that's done, you need to just deploy the resources. So let's do that, and then let's wait. Okay, now the resources have been fully deployed, so we can go ahead. We actually provide you some curl commands to actually test out this feature here, but you need to export the API key. So follow this command right here. What I also wanted to mention as well is that if you're a pay-as-you-go user, make sure that you're using an intermediate environment to actually test out these capabilities. This will not work in a base environment. So we're going to export the API key here, and we're actually going to click Next. And now we can actually go ahead and test this proxy. So if we actually refresh the screen here, you'll be able to see that the LLM security proxy was deployed 2 minutes ago. We'll go ahead and start a debug session so we can test these out real time. So if we come back to the Cloud Shell here, and now we can test out each of these cases. So let's start with the positive test case. At a minimum, we actually just want to see a successful call through Model Armor. So we're actually passing a prompt here. And so you can see here, it's going ahead and it's actually hitting Model Armor correctly. And from this perspective, nothing's being flagged. So if we can see that in the debug. And then we're also going to run a negative test case. This negative test case is actually going to flag Model Armor based on the prompt as well, right? So you can see that this is going to be a jailbreak where it's actually going to, or this is going to be one of those particular filters being fired off here. And if we look at the debug here, we should see both of these sessions coming into the platform. So here's a successful. So you can look at this and traverse this information, as well as the 400, you can traverse this information as well and see this real time and look at all the proxy code. So with that being said, if we go to the next portion here, that's the conclusion, rate it. If you want to clean up these resources as well, you absolutely can run this command here and it will clean up all the surface accounts and all the information that's been deployed here. So with that being said, thank you so much for your time. Hopefully this was a really great experience, and until next time, thank you.